There comes a moment in every life when the mirror tells a deeper truth than the calendar ever could. The passing years may place silver in our hair or lines upon our faces, but they cannot place wisdom in our hearts. Maturity is not a destination reached simply by surviving another birthday. It is a quiet transformation, built one decision at a time, one difficult conversation at a time, one silent victory over pride, fear, and impulse at a time. It is the invisible work that no audience applauds, but every meaningful life reflects. We live in a world that celebrates speed over reflection, noise over understanding, and appearance over character. We are encouraged to react before we think, to speak before we listen, and to chase recognition before we discover who we truly are. Yet the strongest people are rarely the loudest. The wisest souls are often the ones who carry themselves with calm certainty, allowing their actions to speak where words fall short. Their strength is not borrowed from applause, but rooted in values that remain steady even when life becomes uncertain. The beautiful truth is that maturity is not reserved for a chosen few. It is available to anyone willing to grow beyond excuses, beyond ego, and beyond the comfort of old habits. Every day presents a quiet invitation to become a little more patient, a little more responsible, a little more compassionate, and a little more honest with ourselves. Growth does not demand perfection. It asks only for willingness, the courage to look inward before pointing outward, and the humility to learn from both success and failure. Today, we will explore 6 simple yet powerful habits that have the potential to reshape not only the way others see you, but, more importantly, the way you see yourself. These habits are not dramatic secrets hidden from the world. They are timeless practices that transform ordinary people into individuals whose presence brings confidence, peace, and quiet strength wherever they go. Self-awareness is the foundation upon which true maturity is built. Many people believe that becoming mature is simply a matter of growing older, but age alone cannot teach the lessons that reflection can't. There are individuals who have lived for decades, yet continue to repeat the same mistakes, while others develop remarkable wisdom early in life because they are willing to examine themselves honestly. Maturity begins the moment a person stops asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and starts asking, "What can I learn from this?" That simple shift transforms every disappointment into a lesson and every success into an opportunity for gratitude rather than pride. Being self-aware means recognizing your strengths without becoming arrogant, and acknowledging your weaknesses without allowing them to define you. It requires the courage to face uncomfortable truths about your behavior, your emotions, and the choices you make every day. Instead of blaming circumstances or other people for every problem, a self-aware person accepts that personal growth often begins with personal responsibility. This mindset creates freedom because it places the power for change back into your own hands rather than leaving it in the control of others. Emotions are an important part of being human, but they are not always reliable guides. Self-awareness teaches you to observe your feelings before allowing them to dictate your actions. Anger may demand an immediate response, fear may encourage retreat, and pride may whisper that admitting a mistake is a sign of weakness. A mature person learns to pause between feeling and reacting. That pause becomes a place where wisdom can speak louder than impulse. It is often in those quiet moments that the best decisions are made. Self-awareness also changes the way you interact with others. Instead of constantly seeking validation, you become comfortable with your own values and purpose. You stop measuring your worth by comparison and begin appreciating the unique journey that belongs only to you. This does not mean ignoring advice or refusing feedback. On the contrary, mature individuals welcome constructive criticism because they understand that growth is impossible without learning. They listen carefully, reflect honestly, and decide thoughtfully which lessons deserve to shape their future. One of the greatest gifts of self-awareness is humility. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself with honesty and balance. It allows you to celebrate your achievements without believing you are superior to others. It gives you the confidence to admit when you are wrong and the strength to apologize without feeling diminished. These qualities build trust because people naturally respect those who are genuine rather than those who pretend to be perfect. Developing self-awareness is not a one-time achievement, but a lifelong practice. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, offers another opportunity to understand yourself more deeply. The questions you ask yourself become more important than the judgments you receive from the world. Over time, your decisions become guided less by impulse and more by intention. Your relationships become healthier because they are rooted in honesty rather than pretense. Your confidence becomes quieter because it no longer depends on constant approval. The person you become is shaped not by the number of years you have lived, but by the willingness to keep learning, reflecting, adapting, and growing with every season of life. One of the clearest signs of maturity is not the absence of emotion, but the ability to manage it with wisdom. Every person experiences anger, disappointment, excitement, jealousy, fear, and frustration. These emotions are natural, and they remind us that we are human. What separates a mature individual from an immature one is not what they feel, but how they choose to respond. Emotional control is the quiet strength that prevents temporary feelings from making permanent decisions. It allows reason to stand beside emotion instead of being pushed aside by it. In a world that often rewards instant reactions, emotional discipline has become a rare and valuable quality. Social media encourages immediate responses. Arguments escalate within seconds, and misunderstandings spread before anyone takes the time to think. It is easy to say something hurtful in a moment of anger or make a decision driven by fear that later brings regret. A mature person understands that not every thought deserves to be spoken, and not every emotion deserves to become an action. Sometimes the greatest display of strength is choosing silence until the mind becomes clear. Patience plays a powerful role in emotional maturity. When faced with criticism, rejection, or conflict, the first impulse may be to defend yourself or strike back. Yet, patience creates space for understanding. It allows you to consider another person's perspective, evaluate the situation calmly, and respond with intention rather than instinct. This does not mean allowing others to disrespect or mistreat you. Instead, it means protecting your peace by refusing to let someone else's behavior control your own character. Emotional control also strengthens relationships. Friends, family members, and colleagues are far more likely to trust someone who remains calm during difficult moments than someone whose mood changes with every inconvenience. Consistency creates safety. People know they can communicate honestly without fearing unnecessary conflict or unpredictable reactions. A mature person understands that words spoken in anger cannot always be taken back, and a single careless moment can damage trust that took years to build. Choosing thoughtful communication demonstrates respect not only for others, but also for yourself. Another important aspect of emotional maturity is recognizing that feelings are temporary, while values should remain steady. There will be days when motivation disappears, confidence feels distant, or disappointment clouds your judgment. If every decision is based only on emotion, life becomes unstable. Mature people rely on principles even when emotions fluctuate. They continue acting with kindness even when they feel irritated. They fulfill responsibilities even when they are tired. They remain honest even when dishonesty appears easier. Their actions are guided by character rather than passing moods. Learning emotional control does not happen overnight. It develops through repeated practice, self-reflection, and a willingness to learn from mistakes. There will be moments when emotions take over and words are spoken too quickly or decisions are made too hastily. The important difference is that a mature person accepts responsibility, apologizes when necessary, and works to respond better next time instead of making excuses. Every challenge becomes another opportunity to strengthen patience, deepen understanding, and build resilience. With time, emotional discipline becomes less about suppressing feelings and more about directing them wisely, allowing compassion, clarity, restraint, and thoughtful judgment to shape every response in both ordinary moments and life's greatest challenges. One of the strongest indicators of maturity is the willingness to take responsibility for your life. It is easy to point fingers when things go wrong. Blaming circumstances, other people, bad luck, or unfair treatment may provide temporary comfort, but it never creates lasting growth. A mature person understands that while not every situation is within their control, their response always is. This understanding shifts the focus away from excuses and toward action. It replaces helplessness with purpose and transforms obstacles into opportunities for learning. Taking responsibility begins with owning your choices. Every decision, whether small or significant, shapes the direction of your life. The habits you practice, the words you speak, the promises you keep, and the effort you invest all contribute to the person you become. Mature individuals recognize that success rarely happens by accident, and that failure is often a valuable teacher rather than a permanent label. Instead of avoiding accountability, they ask themselves what they could have done differently and how they can improve moving forward. Admitting mistakes requires courage because pride naturally resists it. Many people fear that saying, "I was wrong," will make them appear weak. In reality, the opposite is true. Accepting responsibility demonstrates confidence, honesty, and integrity. It shows that your character is stronger than your ego. Those who can acknowledge their errors earn respect because they value truth over appearance. They understand that pretending to be perfect only delays growth, while humility opens the door to wisdom. Responsibility also means keeping your commitments, even when enthusiasm fades. It is easy to begin a project with excitement or make promises when circumstances are favorable. The true test comes when challenges arise, motivation decreases, or unexpected difficulties appear. A mature person does not allow temporary emotions to determine whether they fulfill their obligation. They understand that reliability is built through consistency, not convenience. People trust those whose actions match their words because dependability reflects strength of character. Another important part of responsibility is managing your own life instead of expecting others to solve every problem. Seeking advice and accepting support are valuable, but maturity means taking ownership of the final decision. It means understanding that your happiness, growth, and future cannot depend entirely on another person's approval or direction. The more responsibility you accept, the more confidence you develop, because each challenge overcome becomes evidence of your ability to face the next one. Responsibility extends beyond personal success. It also includes the way you affect the lives of others. Your attitude influences the atmosphere in your home, workplace, and community. Your words can encourage or discourage, heal or hurt. Mature individuals recognize that every interaction leaves an impression. They choose kindness over carelessness, honesty over convenience, and respect over selfishness because they understand that character is revealed not only in major decisions but also in everyday actions. Life will always include setbacks, unexpected disappointments, and moments when circumstances seem unfair. Maturity does not promise an easier journey, but it provides the mindset needed to navigate those challenges with resilience. Instead of waiting for someone else to create the life they desire, responsible people become active participants in shaping their own future. They learn from failures without being defined by them, celebrate successes without becoming complacent, and continue moving forward with determination, discipline, integrity, accountability, and an unwavering commitment to becoming better than they were yesterday. One of the greatest signs of maturity is learning to choose wisdom over the constant desire for approval. From an early age, many people are taught to seek acceptance. They want to be liked, praised, included, and admired. While there is nothing wrong with appreciating encouragement, problems arise when the opinions of others become the foundation of self-worth. A mature person understands that living to satisfy everyone is an impossible task, no matter how kind, talented, or generous you are. There will always be people who misunderstand you, disagree with you, or fail to appreciate your intentions. Accepting this truth brings a quiet freedom that cannot be found through endless people-pleasing. The desire for approval often causes people to make choices that do not reflect their true values. They remain silent when they should speak, agree when they truly disagree, and follow paths that bring recognition rather than fulfillment. Over time, they begin to lose sight of who they really are, because their identity becomes shaped by the expectations of others. Maturity invites a different way of living. It encourages you to know your values so clearly that temporary praise or criticism cannot easily shake your direction. Wisdom teaches that not every opinion deserves equal attention. Some advice comes from people who genuinely care about your growth, while other opinions are based on jealousy, misunderstanding, or limited perspective. A mature person learns to distinguish between constructive guidance and unnecessary judgment. They listen with an open mind but make decisions with a steady heart. Instead of reacting to every criticism, they evaluate whether it contains truth. If it does, they learn from it. If it does not, they let it pass without allowing it to disturb their peace. Choosing wisdom also means accepting that difficult decisions are often the right ones. There will be moments when saying no disappoints others. Setting boundaries creates distance, or standing for your principles invites criticism. Immature thinking seeks comfort through approval, but mature thinking values integrity above popularity. It understands that temporary discomfort is a small price to pay for long-term peace of mind. Every time you choose honesty over convenience or conviction over applause, you strengthen your character. This habit transforms relationships as well. When you no longer depend on constant validation, your interactions become more genuine. You stop pretending to impress people and begin connecting with them through honesty and authenticity. You celebrate others without comparing yourself to them, and you offer kindness without expecting recognition in return. Your confidence becomes quieter because it is rooted in self-respect rather than public opinion. This kind of confidence is difficult to shake because it grows from within instead of relying on external praise. Wisdom reminds us that life is too valuable to spend chasing acceptance from every crowd. Trends change, opinions shift, and public approval is often temporary. But strong character remains valuable in every season. The most respected individuals are rarely those who tried hardest to please everyone. They are the ones who remained faithful to their principles, treated others with dignity, and made decisions guided by truth rather than popularity. As this mindset grows, fear of judgment slowly loses its power. Inner peace becomes more consistent. Confidence grows without arrogance, and every choice reflects purpose, integrity, courage, humility, and the quiet strength of a person who knows their worth without needing the world to confirm it. Maturity is not built through occasional moments of inspiration, but through the small habits repeated every single day. People often imagine that personal growth happens after one life-changing event, one powerful lesson, or one extraordinary decision. While those moments can certainly influence us, lasting transformation is usually much quieter. It is found in the daily choices that seem ordinary but gradually shape our character. Just as a river carves through rock, not by force but by persistence, our habits slowly define the person we become. Every action repeated consistently becomes part of our identity, whether it strengthens us or weakens us. A mature person understands that discipline is often more valuable than motivation. Motivation comes and goes, changing with emotions and circumstances, but habits remain steady when they are practiced with intention. There will be days when you do not feel like learning, working, exercising patience, or fulfilling your responsibilities. Those are the moments when character is formed. Choosing to do what is right even when it is difficult creates a life built on consistency rather than convenience. Over time, these choices become natural, requiring less effort because they have become part of who you are. One of the most valuable daily habits is making time for reflection. Life moves quickly, and without pausing to examine your thoughts, actions, and experiences, it is easy to repeat mistakes without realizing it. Taking even a few moments each day to ask yourself what you learned, how you treated others, and what you could improve creates steady personal growth. Reflection turns everyday experiences into meaningful lessons. It teaches you to recognize patterns, celebrate progress, and correct mistakes before they become permanent habits. Another important habit is treating people with consistent respect. Maturity is revealed not only in how you treat those who can benefit you, but also in how you respond to strangers, co-workers, family members, and those who disagree with you. Small acts of kindness, thoughtful listening, honesty, and patience may seem insignificant in the moment, but they leave lasting impressions. Relationships are strengthened by repeated acts of respect rather than occasional grand gestures. The quality of your character becomes visible through these ordinary interactions. A mature life is also shaped by the habit of continuous learning. No one ever reaches a point where there is nothing left to discover. Every conversation, every challenge, every book, and every experience offers an opportunity to grow. People who remain curious stay humble because they recognize that wisdom is not about knowing everything, but about remaining willing to learn. They welcome new perspectives without abandoning their core values, allowing knowledge to deepen their understanding rather than inflate their pride. Gratitude is another habit that quietly transforms the heart. Instead of constantly focusing on what is missing, mature individuals learn to appreciate what they already have. Gratitude does not ignore life's difficulties, but it prevents those difficulties from overshadowing every blessing. It creates contentment while still leaving room for ambition and growth. A grateful person is less likely to become consumed by comparison or resentment because their attention is directed toward abundance rather than lack. These simple daily habits may appear small on their own, but together they create a foundation strong enough to support a meaningful and mature life. Every thoughtful choice, every honest reflection, every act of discipline, every lesson learned, and every moment of gratitude quietly shapes the person you become, proving that true maturity is not revealed in extraordinary occasions, but in the faithful practice of ordinary actions repeated with purpose, patience, humility, integrity, and unwavering consistency day after day.